Where is he? We're trying to shoot a video. Where is he? What are you
Whoa!
doing?
Whoa! Sorry, I'm practicing my Reggie pose. I'll be there in a minute.
Okay.
Gotta be like Reggie. Gonna be like Reggie.
Okay.
All right, I'll be there. Welcome back to the Rusty Staples Show with Off-White to White Pages. We just got back from C2E2 just last night, and we are here today to present our C2E2 extravaganza. So we are going to give you a rundown of that, show you some things that we got at the show, some things we did, tell you a little bit about our thoughts about that show, and yeah. So for those of you who don't know, we've been going to C2E2 now. This is the 11th year I've been there out of the last 12. Off-White Pages here has been there probably 6 or 7 times at least throughout his young life. So he's had plenty of experience at conventions. We go to 9 or 10 conventions around across the country every year. He's been going to those 2 ever since he could walk. And so we've had a lot of experience at conventions. We've seen a lot of things, done a lot of things. So yeah, we're here today to just kind of give you our rundown on that. So we left the house early Friday morning to get to Chicago for the show. Hit will call early right after 8 when it opened and made it through pretty quick. Nice job there. They were fantastic help. I had lost my email too with my tickets, so they were good about helping us find that. It was a pretty simple deal. The people were super helpful, so I can't complain about that. That show downtown there at McCormick always does a fantastic job. The people that work there do a great job. It's a very nice venue, very large venue, and they do a great job. We made it through security quick because those people do a fantastic job as well. Got into the first shoot of the first line at the very, very end, so we were not too far back, but we were ready to go. We didn't need to get in too quick, but we wanted to hit some of the lines and get to that stuff pretty quick. So we got in and hit the show first to check and see, some artists. Dropped off my sketchbook. I got a sketch from Rod Race with Essential Sequential Art. If you don't know those guys, definitely check them out. They're fantastic group of artists represented by, some people that are great at their job, do a great job of helping people and working with the artists and working with the people that with the show to do a really good job. All the guys in that group were hard at work sketching all weekend and really made the show. Man, I mean, they were the stars of the show, honestly. So yeah, we hit them up and got that all arranged up. We went over to check on some other lines. There were some other lines that were really, really large. We decided to kind of wait and see about that. Check back later on those since the lines were already really long. We did some wandering then after that to look at some comic books, and the selection was pretty good. It wasn't nearly as big as past years. There were lots of open holes in the show floor that were just kind of odd, missing things. I'm not sure what. I know there were no publishers there this year at all. DC had no booth. Marvel hasn't had a booth for probably since the pandemic. So it was for the last 4 years, 4 years. There weren't even any small publisher booths there. Usually Vault is there in some capacity. People like Scout, people like Boom and those little smaller publishers, but not no-name publishers or anything by any means. They're all pretty well-known publishers, but then there wasn't even that this year. So comic book selection was okay. Prices are just ridiculous, and some people have no idea that they're not going to sell the 5 copies of the same books every dealer has. And yeah, that's a whole other discussion for another show. We've already talked about that. There's so many books out there that are overvalued and very few that are undervalued, I think. Yeah, I don't know. That's a whole other, like I said, another topic for another show. Yeah. So my wife ended up getting a autograph from Hayden Panettiere, who was very nice to everybody and very cool. She was there a little later than they said she would be, but not bad. I mean, it was a little bit of time, but she was honestly, there pretty quick, and like I said, for the most part on time. But the funny thing, anyway, we'll save that for the end. But the funny thing is there were so many times where I noticed that celebrities were signing more times than the comic book artists or writers. At least some of them, some of the bigger name people had times where they were only signing from 1 to 2 or 3 to 4, 2 hours a day on Friday, 2 hours a day on Saturday. Well, meanwhile, the celebrities, who were usually the ones that are hard to come by or hard to find, were pretty much there all day. Once they got there, I don't think they really took too much of a break. I mean, it would have taken less time for us to get Hayden Panettiere's autograph than the first line we'd been in, because that line wasn't moving at all. We stood there for half an hour and it didn't move at all. We came back about an hour later and the people in front of us had finally gotten to the front. So I won't name names on that one, but it was a pretty big name writer that wasn't concerned about the line or getting anybody through the line or anything like that. So and that's their prerogative. That's how it goes sometimes. So needless to say, I didn't bother to stop to get any of that stuff signed. So we ended up giving up and just checking out comic books, going through Artist Alley, checking out some art. Did end up making some purchases the first day, a couple of cheap books. I'm just so turned off anymore going to conventions. After New York, I was just ridiculously disheartened by just the stupid amounts of money that people waste on garbage and CGC fees and the books they get signed for and turned into CGC for no reason at all. Most of those books could be signed and would be better off just keeping them raw. Between that and the artists and writers signing 2 hours a day each day, very disheartening. Prices on things are just completely out of whack, and I'm not gonna bend to that. There's nothing I need to have that's worth that much, that's worth overpaying. And honestly, these dealers need to really get on the internet and do some pricing and figuring out what the pricing is. Now that the Overstreet Guide isn't being used for pricing anymore, the eBay is basically the determinant of that, and of pricing anyway, and things are just out of whack. People don't understand what's available, and the things they think are scarce aren't. And what they're charging is not usually a decent, not usually the fair price. So it's just, there's not much point dealing with the dealers a lot of times nowadays. They give a lot of discounts to their friends. They oftentimes are much nicer to the people they know. I've been dealing with that kind of stuff my whole life. It seems like ever since I was a kid, it was always one of those good old boys clubs at the comic book and card conventions where, oh, hey, these guys are friends. They know each other. I'm sure, they're getting good deals, or they're sharing with their friends the better products that they keep behind the counter. Some of the dealers at the show keep anything worth looking at behind the counter and won't let anybody back to see it. So it's just hilarious. But yeah, it's just funny to be treated like, second rate, like my money's not good enough for these people and they don't really want it. It's just funny. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about that for a second. The dealers at these shows. First of all, they are unnecessary. Not the shows themselves are unnecessary, but the dealers themselves are completely unnecessary. Prices are all over the place. Their grading is all over the place. They're inconsistent on everything they do. They're rude to the people in the show unless they know you and like you. I've never liked a comic book dealer in my life. Never liked a dealer of anything. And honestly, I don't think they're necessary at all. they act like they don't want my money. So I've only been, collecting comic books for 30 years. I only, I don't spend thousands of dollars, but I spend hundreds. But, I was told by one over this weekend that they didn't want my money anyway. So that's good. And yeah, if you want to know, just give us a holler. We'll let you know who that is if you're curious. I won't name names on this show, but yeah, it's pretty well known Overstreet advisor who didn't want my money and acted like, for the millionth time I could remember, acted like I wasn't good enough to buy anything from them. Wouldn't, doesn't want to show me any of the good stuff. They keep everything that's worth buying behind the counter, and honestly don't let half the customers back there for whatever reason, and I just don't understand. It's just not good business practice, any of it. The way they treat the people, the way they favor some of them and not others, it's just dumb. Bad business. Putting everything that's worth buying on the wall behind you where you can't see is not only discriminatory to, disabled people like myself that can't see very well, but it's also just dumb, Why do I want to have to ask for every single book I want to see? I want to see every single book on that back wall, but you know what? I can't see it because it's on your back wall. Put prices on them that are visible. How am I supposed to see? And then as soon as I ask for the third or fourth book to see, you're going to get mad because I'm bothering you. I've seen it plenty of times. That's why I say I've had, I get sick to my stomach dealing with these dealers, because as much as they act like they're such great businessmen, if they were, they wouldn't be doing this for, 50 years now. No great businessman does that this long and hasn't made money yet, or if they have, they apparently haven't made enough. So either they're greedy or bad at business, one of the two. I don't know what it is, but anyway, that's my rant on dealers. We don't need them, and honestly, they don't serve any purpose really anymore. If you want to find a comic book, the internet is readily available. Now, are there dealers on the internet? Sure, but at least I don't have to, get discriminated against as not being their favorite person, or, whatever it is. I don't even know. My money's not good enough for them, and never has been apparently. So, yeah, it's just very off-putting. Comic books are a very gatekeeping community anyway, and then when you get things like that, it's just so off-putting. I mean, I've been, like I said, 30-some years collecting comic books, and it's just sad. Makes me dirty feeling. It's just a horrible thing. Anyway, let's talk about the positives now. We ended up on Friday, like I said, got a couple purchases. I'll show you a couple books. Nothing too crazy, but I got this Dale Evans number 3. Now, I don't think anybody is too excited about a Dale Evans comic book, but there is art in here by a young Alex Toth. So there's that in here. That's why I was curious to get that book. I love the cover too. Could be a Toth cover too, maybe. I don't know. Not sure about that. I don't think it is, but that's a cool cover too. Pretty good condition. I mean, not bad either too. Another we got here is a LB Cole cover I don't think I've ever seen. Pretty old book. This one was from 1949. This is Blue Bolt, Volume 9, Number 9. Like I said, LB Cole cover, one I'd never really seen, but very cool. Found that. Both of those for appropriate prices, maybe even good deals. That's usually what I'm looking for. Something, just an appropriate price, LB Cole covers, Schomburg covers, Alex Toth art, any, artists, Bern Hogarth, any Golden Age, Everett Raymond Kinsler is another artist that's really not talked about a whole lot, but is a great Golden Age artist. Yeah. Anyway, another thought I had about dealers too was I know for sure, having been to conventions for the last several years and, listening to Neil Adams's panels and things like that, I can guarantee you he would understand and appreciate the fact that these dealers are usually not very honest people. I know we went to a panel one time where Neil just basically gave us the history of the direct market and how underhanded, how criminal the distributors were back in the day, and how the initial dealers took advantage of their shady ways. So I can't imagine, you know, we talked about ended with Neil, and we want to be honest, just like Neil was. Take that inspiration from him, and he was not afraid to give his opinion, even if he thought it was going to go against the grain. But I guarantee you, Neil would not like the practices of these dealers these days. And just the gatekeeping, just the underhandedness and the shadiness of it all is just something I don't think he would definitely not approve of. It's just, yeah, so many shady times in comic books throughout history that, you know, they put themselves in danger for no reason and did things that didn't need to be, you know, ripping off artists and writers, destroying original art. Neil was around to, you know, to see these things and to say, hey, this is not right. This is not how things should be done. And he wasn't afraid to stand up. So, yeah, that was one thing when we mentioned him last time. We want to be honest like he was in our show. So anyway, yeah, some more good. While we were standing in one of the lines waiting, Off-White Pages here found a nice artist that he liked. Artist by the name of Jason Metcalf. Not a real big name guy, but he got this sketch card from him with the Dark Knight and some of the Robins. Get that real close. Really cool art. He had some big prints like that and some small cards like that. Really cool. Very detailed art. Yeah, very cool stuff. Just kind of something we spotted in Off-White Pages like that, and yeah, good stuff. So let's see. Friday, that pretty much summed up Friday. We were waiting around for my sketch. It wasn't quite done, and since we were going to be there Saturday anyway, we figured, oh, we'll take off and get out of there for the day, since had been there a long day and frustrated by a lot of different things, and just somewhat disappointed the first day of the show. Yeah. So we went to our hotel. We had a pool at the hotel. That was honestly the best thing about the entire first day, was the nice warm pool, private little area we had with the pool. Yeah. Side note on the traffic in Chicago, it's unreal, ridiculous, and unnecessary. That town's had 100 years to figure their shit out, and yeah, that's just ridiculous. Every time you try to go anywhere in that town, there's an accident that, yeah, you can't get anywhere. It's just ridiculous. I would guess that's one of the things holding C2E2 back, is the fact that they're so far from the airport, and to get from the airport probably takes longer than the flight that the artists and writers take to get to the airport, honestly. Not even kidding. I mean, it's not even a joke. It's true. We drove almost as far to the city as we did once we got into the city, time-wise. Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit less, but not much. So, like I said, the pool on the first day was the highlight. Second day, we got there and, you know, got in decent line. Got there early, got parking. It was chill. Second day. My wife was going to get in line to see Chad Michael Murray. Did that. Got to see him real quick. He showed up pretty quick and was pretty much on time. Great, fun, awesome to talk to. He was excited to talk to us as we were to talk to him. So shout out to Chad Michael Murray, something I thought I'd never say, but he was a cool guy and fantastic to talk to. Yeah, and once again, he was signing more than the comic book artists and writers. It didn't really hit me at first, but I think it was just today where I finally realized why I was so just dirty feeling after this show and New York. It was just the fact that, you know, things have changed so much with these shows. Our writers, artists, comic book artists and writers used to sit at their tables the entire show, and some of them do. Like I said, the essential sequential guys were fantastic. They were the AAA stars of the show. Every time we walked by, those guys were there, either signing, remarking, sketching. I mean, sketching 9 times out of 10, just busting and you know, just you know, taking care of everybody. Just a fantastic group, you know. And like I said, I cannot stand dealers and, you know, art rep type people, but shout out to Essential Sequential. You guys do a fantastic job, and cannot thank you enough for the help you've been over the years. I mean, it's not just this show, but years now, to those guys. Anyway, we got our Chad Michael Murray. Went back to check on a few things, you know, and found out my sketch was done, so we got that taken care of. That was fantastic. Talked to Rod Race for a second, and he's a great, fantastic artist if you don't know him. Brazilian artist. He did a lot of Marvel stuff, done tons of covers. I think he started as a colorist, and now he's an artist, doing his own stuff and doing probably some indie books now. I think he's been doing. Yeah, but fantastic artist. Super happy to add him to my sketchbook, and yeah, so that day was great. We, finished up our show, took off, got home, and actually had a pretty good show in the end. But just so many changes over the years with shows, and just more money for everything. People didn't used to charge for signatures. Now it's every signature is a charge almost. People aren't sketching at shows the way they used to, which is fine. I mean, I understand that. It makes it tough to work on a sketchbook like I have, and it's just tough sometimes when they don't give you answers, or you get to the show and you don't know. You have to, make quick decisions and deal with things like that. So I understand if artists don't want to sketch at the show, it's totally understandable, because you're going to spend a lot of your time with your, pen to pad or pencil to paper, whatever you want to call it, and working when you'd rather probably be hanging out and talking with your friends, which I totally understand. So like I said, thank you to those guys that still do, and I understand when they don't want to. That's totally understandable. It's just signs of the times. Things are changing, and it's time to maybe ask the question, do we need cons anymore? Do they still serve any kind of purpose when everything that's done at the cons can be done online? I mean, CGC has sometimes yearly regular signings with artists or writers or both, and continues to do so. It's something they started during the pandemic. And they continue to do so. Regular signings with people at their headquarters in Florida, which, if they're going to do that, what do we need conventions for? Why is CGC, they really aren't going to conventions like they used to because of that kind of thing, and that's fine. If we're going to do that, then let's do that. I mean, the only thing we're really getting with the conventions is the personal one-on-one, and that's really been limited too. Now the artists and writers are signing even less than the celebrities at the shows. I think all we need to do maybe now is just have a like celebrity signing shows and get rid of everything else. The vendors, everything can be purchased online. The comic book dealers are already mostly online. It's better, I think, to purchase online because you don't have to see the person, and they don't judge you or discriminate against you because they do. Yeah. I mean, they can deny it all they want, but I've seen it over the years. Every time, dealers are friends with other dealers. They give each other discounts. They treat each other way better and nicer than they do the regular customers, who are the ones they should be worried about, I would think. But sure as hell doesn't seem like they want anybody's money too bad, because they put everything behind the counter that's worth buying, or won't let people behind the counter to see it, or just bad business practices all around. Make no sense. Yeah. Anyway. All right, welcome back to the Rusty Staples Show. We are down back in the comic book room. We're going to do another random pull this week. Let's see. We got this shelf here. We're going to do a random pull from here. I'm going to try to find something good for us here. Let's see what we got. Trying to feel for top loaders. Let's see. Let's go this way. Beautiful. This is a crazy pull, huh? Let's see. Let's mark that spot. This is actually the free comic book day copy of the Hip Hop Family Tree. Alrighty, that is the Rusty Staples Show for the week. With me, as always, is Off White to White Pages. Just wanted to let you know we are thinking about starting an Instagram for this show. If you're interested in that, give us a holler and we'll get that set up. I've got my personal Instagram. If you want to check out my sketch from Rod Race, I'll post it on there. My Instagram for that is 213Batman213. My other Instagram is Golden Age Comic Tim. That's where I'll have comics posted. It's where I post my Golden Age comics, sometimes unboxing videos, things like that. That's a good way to get a hold of me there. Yeah, and just check out our next show next week. We'll have another one next week for you guys. Hope you had a good week, and we will be back next week. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.